Ladies and gentlemen, Binnall of America!
And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host, Tim Binnall.
No commercials, no subscriptions, no network, no rules. And at the end of the day, my friends, no comparison. Welcome to another edition of BOA The Revival. Really looking forward to this week's installment of the program. We're bringing back an old friend of ours, Katy Elizabeth, who you may recall was one of the original first few guests we had when we kicked off the revival 3 years ago. So it's been a while since we've chatted with her. She's, of course, I like to say the preeminent Lake Champlain Monster researcher. I mean, she's out there doing the work on the boat, Kelpie 3, collecting cases when she gets them, looking into these things, has picked up some interesting echolocation information and tipped me off to a sighting, possible sighting that happened earlier this summer. So there's activity going on over at Lake Champlain, and we were chatting back and forth when she gave me the heads up on this, and I was like, hey, it's been a while. Why don't we get you back on Binnall of America, and we'll talk a little bit about what's going on over there at Lake Champlain. So welcome back to the show, Katy. Really looking forward to catching up with you.
Thanks so much for having me back on. It's been quite, oh God, I don't even know how long it's been. It's been a while.
It's been 3 years. It's been 3 years. Because we relaunched about 3 years ago. And I think we probably chatted like in the late summer of, 2003 at this point. So yeah, it's been a while. So how you been, how you been in general? You know, what's going on with you?
I've been doing good. Very busy. There's never any time to, do any relaxing, really. I mean, my life is kind of crazy. I have a farm. I'm getting the research vessel ready for going out on an expedition in 3 weeks. It's going to be great, though, because I have a new research vessel, Kelpie 3. We had Kelpie 2 before, which is a lot older of a model. As a matter of fact, she's a 1985, which is what I am, too. So she's getting that age. So I decided to retire her and get Kelpie 3, which is a 23-foot pontoon boat. And it's great. I like it better because it's just so much more roomy. There's tons of room for equipment. And the other boat, I like the cabin, but the problem with that was I had to carry all my cases downstairs and it was just really cramped. So it's much better with the new boat. I really like it a lot, and it runs a hell of a lot better too. That's always a plus. I mean, with an older boat, every year there's something you have to fix, and with a newer research vessel, it's more cost effective in the long run to have something newer. So I'm really excited to take it out again. Last year, I went out in the lake and did research and stuff. And I mean, it ran great. So I kind of was testing it out at first because I had never driven a pontoon boat. That was actually my first time. I've been on them as a passenger, but I've never drove my own before. So I was testing it out in some waves and it cuts through the waves very, very nicely. So it was definitely a win-win with purchasing that boat for sure.
Excellent. Now, here's an odd question for you. Because you're the first person I've ever talked to who's had this experience. So I heard there's like a ritual you have to do, like when you buy a new boat, you change the name. Do you do any of that, or do you just kind of wing it?
I don't do the champagne bottle breaking or anything like that. I just wing it. But I do a stage ceremony usually to bless everything and get the good juju going. But that's pretty much how I handle with getting a new vessel.
Right. Because I heard like when you change the name of the boat, you're supposed to do like some shit, and I don't know. I don't know anything about it, so I didn't know if there was like some prescribed thing you got to do when you do that. All right. Well, so far so good. You're out there, and it's seaworthy, so you're okay.
Yes, for sure.
Tell me about this sighting that happened earlier in the summer that you tipped me off to. Pretty exciting. It's a pretty solid. It's a good looking piece of visual evidence, if you will.
Well, it was really interesting because I was on my Facebook page and there was a friend of mine on there named Tom Skazafava. He actually is the former town supervisor of Mariah and Port Henry, New York. Port Henry is a hamlet of Mariah, so it's like a small area. It's kind of confusing because they're right next to each other.
Right.
And I remember years ago when I went to him to propose the champ law, to rewrite the champ protection law, because when it was written back in 1981, it was written to where it was protecting one creature and not a breeding population. There was just several things that didn't sound scientific in the description of that law. And due to the fact that the laws were from Port Henry were going to be dissolved, pretty much gone at that point, I was afraid that law was not going to be in place anymore. So I had gone over to Tom Skazafava at the town offices and sat down with him. And I figured this guy's going to think I'm crazy. But on the contrary, he was really psyched about it. He says, well, I know so many people that have seen Champ, have had sightings, and I'll present it to the town board and see what happens. And I wasn't there for the meeting because I didn't think he was going to present it at the next meeting. Because he said, I don't know if I'm going to do it then because we have a lot of other issues, more important things to them to take care of. And so I was like, okay. And then they happened to have some time and they brought it up and everybody was like, yeah. And it was passed unanimously. So what's interesting is I was on my Facebook page and I happened to see Tom's page and I saw that he had posted, he goes, oh, I think I saw a champ. And I'm like, what the heck? So I clicked on the video and I was like, wow, because what was really interesting about this creature in the video is the second clip where it speeds up really fast. And I don't know of any animal of that size, especially being on that high vantage point. He had such a good opportunity, a good vantage point to get this footage of this animal. And it doesn't seem to be the size of a sturgeon or an otter or anything like that. Sturgeon can get up to 7 feet long. With the fact of him being up that high, it definitely has to be pretty damn large. And so, especially the way it was swimming in the second clip, it was just so fast. I had to slow it down a lot on the video. I don't know if you saw, I had to slow it down. It was really, really, really fast. So I was like totally psyched when I saw that. And I asked him, I'm like, would you mind if I share your videos? And he's like, no, not at all. And he was really thrilled that I did. So maybe he's happy that, he was one of the people that passed the law in the town, and everybody probably thought he was crazy at the time. And now they're like, wow, he really got video of something really unique. And it's interesting. I mean, it's not the classic head and neck sighting, but most of them aren't. It's very rare to have a head and neck sighting of these creatures. So I was really excited. And that was back on June 11th. So that was fairly recent. And last year I had gotten quite a few eyewitness reports. Last year wasn't, a whole thing with getting any evidence. It was the eyewitness reports. And that was really good, though, because over the years of doing this, it's been about 15 years for me, interviewing eyewitnesses, it usually takes them like sometimes 5-10 years to say, oh, I actually saw something, because they're afraid of ridicule. And this time it was just like, oh my God, I had people coming up to me and telling me their stories, and I did some interviews and stuff. So it was a really good year for that last year. And I'm really excited. And then plus I got to go to Loch Ness and Loch Morar, which we can talk about later. So
yeah, for sure.
It was great.
Do you think it's like, because I've sort of seen this in a way, but it's like, it feels like a lot of this stuff is way cooler than it was even 15 years ago, especially like Bigfoot, but Champ kind of is in that same realm. But it's like, I feel like a lot of cryptozoology and sort of, like I said, Bigfoot and Mothman and lake monsters, there's a certain, I don't know, it's not so much, it's not as ridiculed as it used to be. It's sort of like a little more embraced, especially by local communities where they have sort of a resident monster, if you will.
No, I totally believe that too. I mean, back in the 60s and 70s, it was really embraced, as you know. I mean, a lot of people are like, well, a lot of people did drugs back then, you know. Um, I mean, maybe that was the case. I really don't know, but it's definitely more embraced now than it was, I would say, about 15 years ago, for sure. And I think what's happening now, though, too, you know, they're coming out with new, like with the UFO stuff. I mean, look what's going on with that. They're coming out with, oh yeah, there really is such thing as UFOs. You know, when like 15 years ago, it's like, oh no, there's no such thing. The government was hiding every aspect of it. So I think, you know, things are starting to open up more. People are starting to open up more and kind of broaden their expanse of thought. Like
Yeah.
maybe there is weird stuff out there, you know? And also with the echolocation recordings, that was like a really great thing that I had gotten. That was September of 2024.
Mhm.
September 20th, I had gotten echolocation again, and it had been a while since I had gotten it. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember the last time I had gotten it before. I think it was 2019.
Yeah.
I had gotten
Yeah.
echolocation. But what was really interesting about this echolocation was it was distinctly different, where it had like a slight buzzing sound in between the clicks.
Mhm.
And that's something that normally cetaceans give off when they're going after prey. So when I heard that, I was like, whoa, this is just really unique. So I presented it to Cindy Jolie, who is a biologist in Perth, Australia. And she analyzed the recording and she was just amazed. And we're working on a paper right now, a scientific paper, because it's just such an important piece to the puzzle that needs to be presented in a paper, peer-reviewed paper. So we're working on that, and it was great. It was great to get that because it was towards the end of the season, and I didn't think I really was going to get anything in September. Usually August, July, August. That was actually the latest I've ever gotten anything. So that was really cool. We had a very warm summer that year, though, too. And I think that had a lot to do with it. The water temperature, I think, has a lot to do with the behavior of these animals being what I believe is an ectothermic species. So they need the outside temperature to sustain their inner core temperature. So when the water's really, really cold, they're sluggish, just like reptiles and amphibians, because they're cold-blooded. So that was really great because I was having several issues like with boat stuff and family stuff, and I was like, oh my God, I hope I get something this time, and I did. So I was really excited about it, and it paid off. I mean, the stuff that I was going through at the time, even with the boat, I mean, I bought a brand new starter for it, and the starter completely died like the second day I used it. And then I had to sit and wait until they could order a new one. And there's a lot of things that people don't understand. They think, oh, you're so lucky to have a boat. But they don't, number one, they don't know how expensive it is.
Right. Yeah. Isn't that the old expression about a boat? The two best days are the day you buy it and the day you sell it, right?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yes. And, you know, there was just a lot of obstacles. And then there was something with the electrical and oh my God, but I managed to get it fixed, and I got out there one last time for the season, and I happened to get really lucky. So that was a blessing for sure. It really was. And also what I wanted to say about Tom Skazafov is citing my plan, like in the Coast to Coast article, is to go out with the research vessel to the location and have someone stand up on the hill where he was. Matter of fact, where he was, that man had a sighting many years ago as well, which is interesting, and probably in the same spot. I need to talk to him when I get there to find out if it was in the same exact location. And the important thing is to go at the same time of day. So this was like 8:38 p.m., I believe it was. So the fish are abundant, feeding on bugs, and that's when these animals are surfacing. And I think that's why people see them. I think most of the other times they're just at the bottom, just hanging out until they go up to feed and people happen to get a glimpse of their back or their neck or whatever. So I'm going to take the research vessel out to the location, have someone film on top of the hill, because there's nothing in that video for scale. So that's really
Right.
important to show, okay, see, it wasn't an otter, it wasn't a sturgeon, it was ducks. That's another one. People said, oh, it could be ducks because cell phones are low resolution. I don't care what, I mean, the new brand new models are pretty damn good with the cameras, but still, if you're that far away, you're not going to get the best video unless you have an Nikon like I do.
Yeah.
And ever since I got the best camera out there, I have not taken a video. So it's like, what the heck? But that's the way it goes. But yeah, fortunate enough to get Tom's sighting, and I'm really excited to go out there and do that experiment with Kelpie 3. And that way I'll do another video of the footage, and then we can do a side by side, and we can see exactly how big this creature was.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's commendable. I mean, yeah, it's I when I saw that was your plan, I was like, there's, awesome job, Katy, again, putting the work in here to try and shed more light on this sighting. So when you get the echolocation, how do you do that? You just deploy like an underwater microphone into the water and then just sit on the boat and kind of record?
Yeah, basically, I kind of have a certain protocol that I do where I go to different sighting locations, good feeding areas where there's a lot of fish. And I put the hydrophone down and just sit and listen. I don't have the boat running or anything like that because
Right.
you can put it in software where it would take away the boat noise, but I prefer to have the motor turned off. I've seen people over at Loch Ness towing the hydrophone, and it's like, yee,
Right.
You got a lot of background noise, and I've seen it where they forgot to turn the on button on. I don't know how you could forget that. You have one job. It's rookie stuff, I mean, we've all made mistakes when we started our passion for what we do, So it's I have a checklist of certain things that I do in certain places that I go. And yeah, basically it's just sitting, and it's like fishing. It's boring, really. I mean, honestly, It's like watching paint dry. But the scenery, you can't beat it. As you know, the lake is gorgeous. So it's a nice peaceful time when I'm listening with the hydrophone. And yeah, the hydrophone has been such a huge plus in getting that back in, God, I think I got it in 2014. I had my own hydrophone that I had made with a piezo mic. That was back in 2012 when I started. I rigged it in a PVC pipe, but that didn't work out so well because it's kind of banging around a little bit, and it was like, I just kind of rigged it, and then I said, I got enough money to buy one, and I'll buy a hydrophone now. So yeah, we've all started out somewhere, and it's just every season the equipment gets better and better, and I think that's the one advantage that we have with today, with the technology that's coming out to solve this mystery and other lake creature mysteries around the world. I think the technology is getting better and better, and knowing where to go is so important because it's like, how big the lake is. It's 125 miles long.
Right.
It's like, when I first went there, I'm like, well, where the heck do I go? And so I started studying the sightings and just seeing all these similarities with times and dates and moon cycles. And there's all kinds of things that seem to fit together that help with the search more, that you have better luck of having a sighting or having a recording. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to it.
Yeah.
Plus camera skills too, because you see something, some people can't even zoom in without, they're shaking all around. So of course I have a tripod now. That's really important. And then just trying to stay on said object. I use pointers in the background for when I see something. So I'll practice with ducks, with boats, and things like that, just to get a quick reaction time. Turning on the camera. So I'll turn the camera on, because if I keep the camera on, it drains the battery like crazy, unfortunately. Because most people, like, why don't you just leave the camera on? Within like 15 minutes, the battery's dead. It's just, it doesn't stay on. And I do have multiple batteries, so if one craps out, I can use another one and another one. But I do practice with boats and with ducks and things like that. My reaction time, so I'll go, okay, let's see how quick it is for me to zoom in and focus on this. And I'll do that over and over. And I'm actually going to start doing some online classes on some of the research tactics that I do. And so people can, if they want to go out and search, they're prepared. We're never really prepared. I mean, when there's a sighting, we're never really prepared, but you're more prepared if you're practicing the camera skills and stuff like that. So I'm going to be doing an online class about field research with lake creatures. I don't know when I'm going to do that. It's probably going to be a few months before I get that rolling because I have too many projects going on right now.
Yeah, you got a lot of irons in the fire. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I do. Too many.
Now you mentioned moon cycles. What's the hook on that? What do you think's going on there?
Well, it was really interesting because Dennis Hall at did Champ research years ago, and I've done research with him in the past, and he seems to be kind of, I would say, retired from it now. I got him back into it back in 2014 because he quit because he had so much ridicule and people harassing him and everything else, and he just got sick of it. And I said, you need to get back out there, damn it. And I did get him back out there, and he was really happy about it because we had gotten the first hydrophone recording. That was August of 2014. So yeah, with him, he taught me a lot. He taught me a lot of places to go to have a sighting, and he really handed me the torch, so to speak. He used to tell people, they're like, "Do you still hunt for Champ?" And he's like, "Kind of, but I'm handing the torch over to Katy." So
yeah,
but it was a big help to learn about his knowledge. But he has this belief that 3 days before and 3 days after the new moon, there seems to be more sightings.
Interesting.
I really don't know if I kind of agree with it, but there's also a catalog of, I've looked at like past moon cycles, and it seems like the waxing gibbous moon, I believe it is, that one seems to get more fish activity.
Yeah.
So I just think when the fish are active at the surface, that's when they're coming up, and that's when people are seeing them. So it's just the feeding times. I think the times are more important than the moon cycles. I mean, you're not dealing with the ocean.
Right. Yeah.
With the moon. So it's a little different. If that was the case, I think it would really depend on the moon cycle. And certain dates, that's the biggest thing. August is like a huge Champ month, I think, because there's so many sightings in August, July, August, September. I mean, sometimes in the spring people have sightings too. When I think it's, when the frogs and the turtles are coming out, they're coming out of that torpor-like state. So, I mean, I think just going to the same places at the same times, eventually you're definitely going to see something. It may not be tomorrow, but it's one of those things where if you stick by that same area, I think you got a huge chance of having a sighting.
Yeah, you got to stick with it. That's kind of the deal. I mean, yeah, for sure. It's you have to be kind of consistent if you're going to be a steady watcher, if you will. I mean, yeah, some people there are like, I'm sure in large part too, the sightings are pick up in July and August too, because that's when all the tourists and everything are around the area, or just people enjoying the summer months. So there's more eyes on the water as it is, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that could be another thing as well. But it just seems like, I mean, I don't know. I know some people that have lived on the lake and seen stuff. And like I've done hydrophone work underneath the ice, and I haven't gotten a damn thing in the wintertime. So I think that they're in like their little hibernation like state.
Yeah. Well, and I know we explored this when you were on like 3 years ago, but what's your basic sort of theory on what this creature is?
Well, I don't believe it's necessarily a plesiosaur. I don't believe it's necessarily a Tanystropheus. That was Dennis's theory. I think they look like a plesiosaur and a Tanystropheus, so they don't have the big flippers like a plesiosaur. They have the webbed feet, which is a Tanystropheus type of feature. They have a really long neck too, but they have a longer midsection because in my sonar readings from back in 2019, the two animals that I captured on the sonar, they have a quite elongated midsection. Yeah. And it made me wonder, I'm like, this is strange. I mean, it's either a creature that is not in our known fossil record that we have not dug up yet somewhere. Because, I mean, you look on some of the news sites, they're finding new dinosaurs that they never even knew existed, Yeah. And I think they're probably under layers and layers and layers, that we just haven't found anything yet. I mean, there was one really interesting story from the 1800s where over at Barn Rock, which is across from Basin Harbor, there was supposedly a type of fossil in the rock that was like a serpent. It was in the newspaper, and supposedly P.T. Barnum had gotten, I guess they chipped it out of the rock, and he had gotten it. And I guess there was like a fire or something where he kept his collection, supposedly. But I mean, fire, I mean, it's a freaking rock,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's out there somewhere, I believe. It's out there somewhere, but it was like a serpentine type of fossil in the rock, like a snake. Whether it was Champ or some unknown giant snake, I don't know. But I thought that was really interesting. But I don't believe that they are in our known fossil record right now. And I think they're probably, there's another theory that I think that they could be a uniquely evolved creature. So maybe a type of plesiosaur, in the archosaur family of like the Tanystropheus as well, that there were archosaurs. So maybe in the archosaurian family where they just evolution changed them. I mean, whales used to walk on land and then they developed flippers and they turned into whales. So that's a weird thing about evolution. So, I mean, they could have got a longer midsection, more of a dragon-like head than the plesiosaur, because the plesiosaur has kind of got the oval type of head that looks much different. But with the sonar readings and with the eyewitness reports, they have more of a rigid jawline and the head of a horse, basically, an Arabian horse especially, because they have like a kind of a dish like up above their nostrils, kind of like where their head kind of dips down. And that's something you don't see in any ancient reptile and in our fossil record. So they have several features that don't quite fit plesiosaur and Tanystropheus. So I don't know. They're either evolutionary adaptation came into play and they've changed from the species, or they're an unknown species that are not in the fossil record. So I don't know, but I think that they're an ectothermic species, whatever they are. There's been reports of them sunbathing, reports of them in the marsh systems, running across roads, very much like the Nessie sightings over at Loch Ness. So it's definitely, there's a lot of theories and a lot of things to think about, but I don't believe that they're plesiosaurs per se.
Right. Yeah. Well, that makes sense in a way, because it's like you think about it and it's like, because the idea, that's bandied about all the time, it's like this is remnant plesiosaur. But it's like if it's been there for like millions of years and there's a breeding population and everything, then it would stand to reason that like over the eons of time, like it would change and evolve and sort of no longer be a plesiosaur. It would be some other animal that it became over time in a way.
Well, I mean, plesiosaurs couldn't hold their head and neck up high. They didn't have the right vertebrae to do that. But what's interesting about the Tanystropheus, they have side ribs on their neck, so they could hold their head and neck up high. So whatever this creature is, I mean, I've heard of it coiling its neck and all of that. That's something a snake can do. So, I mean, you look at the snake anatomy, they have really elongated side, the vertebrae is meant to bend. And I think that's probably evolutionary adaptation. I don't know, or it's just a unique thing that's in a species that we haven't discovered yet in our fossil record. So who knows? But I don't think it's per se the plesiosaur. I really don't. There's a lot of differences in the morphology of what I got on the sonar and the morphology of what people are seeing. So it's definitely mysterious, and I hope someday with technology and all of that, we'll come to the bottom of what the heck they really are.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, how could you? It's a very difficult sort of thing in a way, because it's like, how could you prove that? I guess you need I mean, it's tough nowadays, especially with AI and everything, but it's like you need solid, beyond a body, you need like a solid, real crystal clear kind of image of this thing, right? I mean, it's very hard to prove something like this.
Well, it's like over at Loch Ness, there was a woman named Chi Kelly. I never got to speak with her, but I did see her photos, and I guess they're thinking it was divers or seals or whatever. But she took photos of these hump-like things on the surface of the water. And it's kind of interesting because I got thinking to myself, well, why the heck didn't she take video? Because video is so much more important than photos. Because
Right.
I mean, you got to show the motion of it. Like to say, okay, this isn't a seal, or this isn't garbage bags in the water. Do you see what I'm saying? Just getting that motion. And when people say, oh, don't you want to get the best photograph? And I'm thinking photographs are like ancient. Like, to me, that's not proof. You have to have a video of them in motion to say, hey, this isn't XYZ, you know? And so the thing with AI that's really, I mean, it's kind of cool AI, but it sucks because then you have to, you know, people are going to say it's fake. But my plan is if I get a really solid video of the head and neck coming up, what I'm going to do is send it to NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory and have experts analyze it, because then, you know, they'll be able to tell if it's AI or not, because otherwise there's no way you can prove that it's real, that you got real footage.
Yeah, it's tough nowadays. It's really it's particularly tough for like the world of the strange, because, you know, photos is like, that's the big thing, whether it's UFOs or Bigfoot or lake monsters or ghosts. It's like, you know, the photos like the holy grail. And it's like, well, photos are all now, they're being rendered almost obsolete because no one can tell what's real and what isn't. So it's very frustrating. You know,
and I mean, the good thing about getting video too is you can freeze frame throughout the video and get your photos. I mean, I always tell people, if you see something on the lake, get a video and have a decent camera on hand. If you don't, well, you just got to better hope that Champ's up really damn close because cell phones with doing this suck. And you know, especially, you know, with low resolution. Depends on what kind of phone you have. The new phones are amazing. I don't have a brand new iPhone. I probably should get one eventually, but they're so damn expensive. I'm too busy paying for equipment for the boat. So,
exactly.
But I have my Nikon camera that's, I believe it's 85 zoom. So it's really, really good. And hopefully, you know, back in 2014, I got the video of a champ animal crossing Button Bay, which was analyzed and by marine biologists, and they couldn't figure out. Someone said, oh, well, maybe it's an alligator. Well, what the hell? There's no alligators in Lake Champlain, obviously, unless someone let a pet go. But they estimated it to be 20 to 30 feet in length. And the reason why they could estimate the size, there was no boat in the background, but there was a passing bird that went over it. And they used that bird for scale. And that's how they could determine how large the animal was that I filmed. So that was really interesting.
Yeah. So what are they doing on the land? They're just kind of like getting out of the water to get food, or what's your theory on the land movement?
I think the land sightings, you know, with the marsh system, especially around Lake Champlain, there's over 300,000 acres of marshland around Champlain, which is huge.
Yeah.
I think they're going in there for additional food. There's turtles, there's snakes, there's small fish, there's also vegetation. Now, I've had people ask me, do you think that they're vegetarian? You know, they eat vegetation. And I'm like, well, I don't think that that's their main diet. I think fish are their main diet, because when the fish are abundant, people have seen fish in their mouth. They've seen fish jumping. People have been fishing where all of a sudden the fish stop biting. They use echolocation to find their food and to navigate the lake, because the lake is not that clear in most places. You know, visibility kind of sucks. It depends on, especially in the summertime when they're active. We get blue-green algae blooms in Lake Champlain. And that has a lot. Those are fed by, unfortunately, the sewage that is getting into the lake every year, which is something I'm working on with the legislature, with protection. I mean, that's another thing that I do with my research, is I try to work with environmental activists with the lake, because, you know, it's such a beautiful lake and it needs to be protected, and it's drinking water for thousands and thousands of people. And I don't understand why legislature doesn't do anything about it. There's wastewater treatment plants up in Burlington, Vermont. Everybody says Vermont's so green and stuff, and Well, to me, it's not because they're allowing this to happen. So up there, the infrastructure of the wastewater treatment plants, they should have fixed like 30 years ago. And water is just overflowing. Anytime we get rainstorms or whatever, it just overflows into the lake. And sometimes they even let the water go into the lake. Oh, it's like 30,000 gallons of raw sewage were let into Lake Champlain. Yeah, I'm not kidding. And it's like the EPA does absolutely nothing. So that's one of my projects that I'm working on too, is to try to talk to the right person in office to see what can be done, because it's not right. I mean, it's people's drinking water. It's their tourism. You know, people go up to the lake to do tubing, boating, fishing. And who wants to do that in a toilet? You know,
Yeah, it's
who
awful.
wants to swim in a toilet? It's nasty, and it needs to be changed. And it's not just for the champ animals themselves, because I think they're highly resilient. It doesn't seem to bother them one bit. But you think about stories of, I mean, think of this, like the alligators in New York City in the sewers.
Yeah.
I mean, the sewers didn't bother the alligators. They're an ancient reptile. So I don't think that it's bothering them per se, but it could kill off a lot of fish, which is their food source. But going in the swamps, I think, is an additional feeding thing for them. I could be a breeding thing too. I really don't know, but I think it's for additional feeding. And the eye shine, the tapetum that people see at night when they have a flashlight and they shine the light out, and they see these eyes like 7 feet above the swamp, and they're like, "What the heck is that?" And they hear them running through the swamp. I've interviewed several people in where I was up at the lake doing research on the Vermont side, that there's like, I think they've got 300 acres of marsh they own.
Yeah.
And there's been several people that have been at that marsh who have seen and heard something running through the swamp.
Jesus.
So it's kind of crazy. Well, one night, my friend Dan and I were camping down at the swamp, and I believe it was in September. It was a little chilly at night, but we had a campfire, and there was a cow there named Lulu Bell. She was really sweet. And she used to come up every time we had a campfire. It's like she knew that she could get really warm and cozy next to the fire. So as soon as I lit that fire, I'm like, Lulu Bell's going to come. And I could hear her feet. But So she came up, and she used to lay down next to me with her head in my lap. Well, one evening, it was probably around 11 o'clock at night. We were sitting around the campfire, and Lulubelle came running and mooing, and we're like, what the heck's wrong with her? So she came over to us, and she was really nervous, and we heard this like running in the swamp, like slosh, slosh, slosh. And I looked at my friend Dan, and I said, what the heck? The problem where we were was there was bushes that were like, I would say about 5 foot high, 6 foot high. So I couldn't see over the bushes in that area of the swamp. But it was weird. I'm not saying it was champ, but it was weird. It's like, what the heck could be running through the swamp to make that much noise? I mean, there's coyotes and foxes, and there is moose in Vermont, but that area, I seen a moose once the whole time doing research on that. And I think that would be, well, once in the last 14 years, I saw a moose. So it's not really a moosey type of area. I mean, they're around, but it's kind of rare to see one in that area of Vermont. But I don't know what it was, but that cow was scared to death, and it was weird. I wish I could have seen what it was. We did get it to an area of the swamp and shine my huge spotlight out, and we didn't see anything, but it was definitely different. So yeah, the swamp stories are probably my favorite. The land sightings, especially there in Loch Ness, the similarities between the two. I think it's most likely the same species that we're dealing with. I mean, if not the same, closely related.
Yeah. So tell me about this trip to Loch Ness. When did you go? Like about, must have been a couple of years ago now, right?
It was actually a year ago. It was last
year. Okay.
Yes. Last May, I went to Loch Ness and Loch Morar. Loch Ness was really cool. I mean, I've been wanting to go to Loch Ness since I was a kid.
Right. Yeah, me too.
It was really neat. I learned so much being there, because driving along Loch Ness, I was like, whoa, because there's so many trees and you don't see there's not really a lot of great vantage points. There's pull-offs and stuff like that, but a lot of the loch is covered by trees.
Yeah.
So I found that really interesting. I thought it was more open. But the other thing I found really interesting was how small it appeared to Lake Champlain. It's like a river. It's so narrow.
Really?
And I'm like, what the hell? Like going down the road and looking across, I'm like, wow, but it's much deeper than Lake Champlain, but I mean, just the sheer width of it, just how it was just like, it looked dinky to me, compared to Lake Champlain. It really did. I mean, it's beautiful. I loved it there, but the size of it did not impress me. I was like, it looks bigger on television. Everything looks bigger on TV, it was different. The castle was cool. Urquhart Castle was amazing. We got to climb up the Grant Tower, and that I actually started crying a little bit when I got up there because I had been dreaming about going and standing on that tower since I was 7 years old.
Right.
So that was really cool. And the vantage point up there is just amazing. You can see everything up and down the loch. So that was cool.
Right. Were you there for the quest? Were you there for the big search weekend, or was? Okay.
I didn't want to go for that because of it being a circus, people running around everywhere. And just what I didn't like about Loch Ness is there's so many tourist boats. And I got thinking to myself, why the hell would these animals stay in here with all this commotion going on? It's crazy. They're buzzing up and down the loch, and it's not. I mean, it's peaceful when the boats aren't around. So early in the morning and towards evening are probably the best times. And those are probably the best times to have a sighting anyway. The water's more still and whatnot. I had gone out with my friend Steve Jones, who's from England. He's a former magistrate, a former judge. He's actually a pagan as well, which is, I think he's like the only, well, he's retired now, but he was the only pagan judge in the UK. So he's definitely an interesting guy. And he's more into ghost hunting and folklore, but he's into cryptozoology. So we met up because we've been friends on Facebook for like ever. So we finally met up, and he took a train up to Inverness and I flew in, and I went and picked him up, and he doesn't drive. So guess who had to drive on those crazy narrow roads? It was me. And at first I was ready to pee my pants because it's pretty scary when you got to drive on the left, go through roundabouts. The road.
Yeah, it could be. I bet. Yeah. Yeah.
Just wide enough for one car. They do
just driving on the wrong side or the opposite side sounds so confusing.
It was crazy. And we had gone to Loch Morar because it was more logical because we got into Inverness. If we went to Loch Ness first, then we'd have to go to Loch Morar, and then we had to rush back to go to the damn airport in Inverness. So I said, okay, let's hit Loch Morar first. So we drove, I think it's about 2.5 hours to Loch Morar. And we did research there. And I'll tell you, that is my favorite place to do research is Loch Morar because the clarity, number one, it's just absolutely beautiful. I had my ROV that goes down to 350 feet. I put that in, and I mean, I got some amazing video, which will be on my documentary, Expedition Scotland, the search at Loch Ness and Loch Morar. I'm hoping to get that out pretty soon. I'm hoping in the next month. I've been really plugging away at editing.
Yeah.
But it was great because we got to meet a gentleman named William Simpson Jr. Now, his father had a sighting back in 1969. It was August 16th, and he was with his friend Duncan McDonnell, and they were on their boat. And a morag, actually, I say a morag because I think there's more than one creature, just like Champ, and same with Nessie, ran into their boat.
Oh,
so
wow.
It was in several major newspapers. I can send you some articles too. It was in several major newspapers all across the world, where they had this sighting, and people, were like, "Oh, they're just making it up." But I met the gentleman. He didn't want to talk on camera, but I talked to him, and this guy, He's the real deal. And his son is the one that I went out on the boat with. He said to me, I'm going to take you out and take you to all the places and take you where my dad and his friend had their encounter. So I got to go out to the spot where they had this animal run into their boat. And what had happened when it ran into the boat, of course, they're freaking out. It knocked the tea kettle off the stove, which was down in the cabin. I mean, in Scotland, you have a little stove and you got to have your tea because, I mean, that's all they drink over there is tea and scotch. I didn't have any scotch when I was there. I didn't dare. I mean, you can't even drive on the roads as it is without having a shot of scotch. But I guess it knocked the tea kettle off the stove. He ran, I think it was Duncan had run out and grabbed an oar and started whacking this creature. And then William Simpson, he went up with his gun. He shot at it. I guess he shot it. Yeah. And it went down in the water and it was gone. It never came back after that. But his son did take me out, like I said. I was so thrilled to meet them. Yeah. And now we're both research partners on Loch Morar. So I've got two organizations. I got Champ Search. I got the Loch Morar team. I haven't named it yet. I'm working on that. And I also have the International Dracontology Alliance. That's my worldwide organization for different lake creatures around the world. But going out with Willie on the boat was amazing. And nobody ever gets that opportunity. And he won't work with anybody else. He's like, I'm not taking anybody else out. This is it. This is our team. And we're going to do more research this coming May, actually. Of next year. Back? So, yes, I am.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know. I'm excited. I'm so excited. And I'm really looking forward to putting out the documentary so everybody can see what, if any evidence we captured. I'm not going to give away anything. We did get something interesting. And we did a really interesting experiment as well that involved a story about Frank Searle at Loch Ness. I'm sure you heard of Frank Searle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
well, catch me up, but catch the listeners up. Who's Frank Searle?
Frank Searle, he was quite a colorful gentleman. He lived on Loch Ness, was a monster hunter. He did fake some photographs, got into a lot of altercations with other researchers, like throwing a petrol bomb supposedly at Adrian Shine's camp. I'm sure. Yeah, there was like a huge, it seems like there's a lot of feuds in the crypto world, but that one was pretty bad. It involved a petrol bomb. But but he was an interesting fellow, and there was a rumor that his camper, his caravan, when he had left there, was pushed into Loch Ness. So we went out to actually see if that was true or not. And I'm not going to tell you if we found anything. You're just going to have to wait.
There you go. All right. Oh, so you went looking for this guy's camper.
Yes.
Submerged in Loch Ness. Interesting. All right.
Well, I figured, we've got the science, we've got the eyewitness reports, we got to add in something a little different, and that was just something I had seen it. Yeah. I'd seen it on some message boards, people asking, do you really think his caravan's still in there? So we went to one of his old camps. He actually had two, one down by Doors Beach, and then he had another one down by, towards Fort Augustus. It's down that end. Foyers is where it was. And it took a while for us to find it. A friend of mine, Ian Squibbs, had gone to the camp before, and he did a little video on YouTube. And I asked Ian, I said, could you help me out with trying to figure, maybe he can make me a little map to see where his camp was. Because he was at the Doors camp, but he got in such a feud with everybody down there. He wanted to be alone. So he went down to Foyers. And the Foyers camp, I really liked that spot, though, because it's really narrow there. And if anything is going to break the surface, you're going to see it. So that was actually a great choice. Plus, Foyers Falls is there. It's gorgeous, and it's all pine forest. It's really nice. We went to a little cafe up on the hill there and had some tea and stuff, and it was interesting. So that's another part of the documentary that I haven't really told anybody about, that we kind of explore if we can find Frank's caravan.
Nice. I like that. That's cool. Now, did you get the chance to go to like the the new thing that they have, like the exhibition that, like the tourist, there's I forget what it's called, but it's like the main, you know what I'm saying? It's like the main Loch Ness exhibition center. Like it's where, it's like, it sounds kind of like a tourist trap, but I mean, look, I would go there in a heartbeat because I like tourist traps. So it sounds pretty cool. I guess from what I understand, it's really kind of state of the art and really, really well done, but I don't know. Did you get a chance to check it out?
I sure did. So we kind of ventured over. I had an appointment with Adrian Shine to do an interview with him. So he's going to be in the documentary and telling his theories. It was great to meet him because he's getting up there in age, and I've always wanted to meet him, and it was great to actually sit with him. He's got a great sense of humor. Of course, on camera, normally for documentaries, you don't get to see that side of Adrian, but he was so much fun. We had great conversation back and forth. He actually made a few remarks of, I've heard that you actually captain your own boat. And I'm like, yes, sir. And he says, well, that's unheard of in this country. He goes, that's something. And I'm like, oh. So he was great. He was great to chat with. And he was really impressed that I had taken the ROV to Loch Morar, because he said that he was doing research there before he went to Loch Ness. And he said that that's actually his favorite place to do research. But I guess he stuck with Loch Ness because, of course, that's where the tourism is. There is no tourism at Loch Morar. There's nothing. I mean, there's not even a T-shirt there. And the locals kind of want to keep it that way, because I've talked to several people that have had experiences and whatnot, and they're just like, we really don't want like a media circus. And I can understand that, So I think with the documentary, it might make a few people upset that they're getting a little bit more attention with Morag, but I think it'll bring more people to the area too, which is good for their economy as well. So I try to respect the locals and respect the culture and all that. So Loch Morar, that was fun. But yeah, I got to see the exhibition, and I got to go in and film for the documentary and show the different exhibits and stuff. And yeah, it's quite state of the art, and they've redone pretty much the whole thing. I got to see the submarine, outside that they had taken down. And it was really good. I mean, down the street there is Nessie Land. Now Nessie Land's kind of a little outdated per se.
I've never heard of this. What's Nessie Land?
Nessie Land. So when you get into Drum to Drogheda, if you take a right, you're going to be at the Loch Ness exhibition, which is where Adrian Shine is based. Okay. So it's like this really beautiful stone building. And I know you've seen it, and everybody's seen it on the documentaries. And then if you go left at where it forks off, you'll see a sign for Nessie Land, and it's kind of small. It's really, really quaint. They have like a little cafe and stuff. And so we went in there because I had spoken to a guy on Facebook that actually runs the shop, the gift shop, and the museum there. So he kind of wanted to tell me his take on Nessie and whatnot, and some of the stories that he had heard. So I went in and met him. His name is Mark. He's a ghost hunter, actually, does mostly paranormal stuff. So he's into all the weird things like we are. Mm-hmm. And I got to chat with him, and I was very lucky to get in both places, and I didn't have to pay admission, which was really, really nice of them. Everybody was so nice. It was very welcoming there at both places. And awesome. I can't wait to go back. I really can't. Loch Ness, I don't know if I'm going to spend maybe a day or two there too, but I think I'm really going to focus on Loch Morar this time. I really think I might go to Loch Ness for a couple days. It's just the thing is going out on Loch Ness. I did go out with Mike Bell, who runs the Nessie Hunter, and we went out there with the ROV. That was tough because the current in Urquhart Bay next to the castle was crazy. It was very choppy. Put the hydrophone down and stuff like that. When I put the ROV in, I had to grab the tether and pull it back up. I couldn't. Oh, wow. It was so crazy. And I'm thinking, look at these currents. makes you wonder what kind of tunnels or caves or whatever the heck is down there to be. It was just crazy, the currents.
Yeah.
I had a heck of a time getting my ROV back up to the surface. Like I had to physically pull on the cable to get it back up.
Like, oh, shit.
Yeah. Well, luckily there's like with the tether, it has like a handle on it and you can put the tether on that. So if the cable breaks, you still have you're not losing it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's an expensive thing to lose. So
Yeah.
you got to make sure you cover your butt, so to speak.
Right.
But it was, the ROV in Loch Ness is kind of useless in a way because it's so damn murky. I mean, it's
Right.
such high peat content. The water, it's so brown. You can see, I would say, 3 feet in front of you, maybe 3 to 5.
Yeah.
Maybe 5 in a good area if you're lucky. So it's pretty murky, and that's why Loch Morar is like my favorite because you can see everything. You can stand on the boat and see 20 feet, 30 feet down.
That's amazing.
That's how clear. That's how clear it is. Yeah. So
I can see how the locals might be like, yeah, they don't want to be like Loch or have that sort of circus atmosphere in a way. Is Nessie like everywhere at Loch Ness? Is it like all kinds of stuff you can buy and that kind of thing? Is it like really pretty prevalent, the monster, iconography?
Oh yeah, I mean, everywhere you go, it's Nessie this, and I mean, Nessie cupcakes, Nessie socks, Nessie pens. I mean, whatever you want, there's Nessie on it. It's everywhere.
I gotta go. I gotta check this out. I want to see this. So
yeah, you really do. You really do. And yeah, I mean, it's fun. I mean, it's a fun place to go to check it out and stuff and to do research. I love doing the research there because it was my dream to go to Loch Ness. And then I learned about Loch Morar and I was like, it's so close to the ocean. It's like a mile from the ocean.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder, are these things here all the time? Are these creatures here all the time? Are they coming in from the sea? That's something that I talk about on the documentary as well. I mean, the deepest part of Loch Morar is 1,017 feet.
Oh, wow. Yikes.
Yeah. And average.
Right. See, I didn't know much about this Loch Morar till you turned me on to it. So I didn't realize there was even another place that had a purported monster. So that's pretty crazy.
Oh, geez, there's tons of them. There's Loch Oich, there's Loch Lochy, there's tons of them. And there's Loch Lochy. Those are right near Loch Ness. And guess what?
Yeah.
Nobody does any research there. I don't know why. It's weird because there's been sightings in these other lochs. So it makes you wonder, maybe when they're not getting any hits in Loch Ness, maybe they're going into these other lochs through tunnels, caves, whatever. Right. I'd like to check out these other lochs because no one's doing any research there. I think that would be great.
That's wild.
You never know what could come up. I could get echolocation down the street from Loch Ness at another loch. You know what I mean? I mean, there's sightings and so many of them, and it really makes you wonder why no one's doing it. And I like to think outside the box, and I like to be the type that does something different than everybody else. And I have done things different than everybody else. And I've been really lucky that a lot of it has been a huge success. I mean, the echolocation stuff and going out at night and doing the research too. You got to kind of think outside the box, and everybody seems to follow everybody else. It's like, I don't want to follow anybody. I want to try different things because you're never going to make new discoveries if you're doing. What happens if you do the same thing over and over again and you get the same results? It's a repetitive thing. It's like everybody arguing about the Mansi photo. It's a log. It's like, you know what? It is what it is. Let's try to get something new and do a comparison to the Mansi photo.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So everybody,
look,
it's like,
you see that with the Bigfoot and it's like they're still fighting about the Patterson Gimlin movie, and that's like 75 years old or something like that. It's like, what do you?
Oh my God!
Like, come on, dude.
what happened with this supposed documentary? It hasn't even, I don't even think it exists at this point. Do you?
I think it's supposed to come. I think it'll come out in the fall. I think. I don't know what's taking so long though.
Yeah, there's something
I'm
sketchy
dying to
about
see
that.
it.
Me too. There's something sketchy about it though. Just
It's
weird.
Yeah, it's remarkable that in this day and age that the supposedly newfound clip hasn't like surfaced online at all. You know what I mean? Like they're doing a good job of keeping it under wraps. That's for sure. So it's like I just want to see the clip. I just want to see this clip that supposedly blows the whole story up. Like let's see it. I'm dying to see this movie. But, I don't know when the hell they're ever going to release it.
Well, I'm waiting too. I don't think we should hold our breath though.
Well, they made the movie and, it's out there. So it'll come out eventually. But, when.
I don't know, maybe they've got maybe they have some kind of legal issue that's going on.
I don't know. I mean, it's like who owns that clip anyway? You know what I mean? It's like that's kind of. I don't know, if Patterson and Gimlin made this other clip, then presumably they would own it, or they found it in some dude's vault. So I don't know. It's it's frustrating, honestly, because it's like it's all talk about it, and without anyone being able to see it, except for like a handful of people. So it's like, all right, let's just see it. Let's just get this over with, so we can move on. I don't know.
Crazy.
What's your take on the Mancy photo? Because she's actually the woman who took that actually lived like relatively close to me in like one of the neighboring towns. So I didn't know that till like much later. But this is like the most hotly debated thing out there, right? This Mancy photo. It's pretty old now.
Yes, for sure. I mean, here's my take on it. I interviewed Sandra Mancy on the phone before she passed away, and she was really nice on the phone. So we talked, and this lady, I didn't get to meet her in person, which it's kind of sad I didn't, but I did get to talk to her on the phone, and she had nothing to gain from saying that this was an unknown creature that she saw, number one. Now, the morphology of, say, if people think it's an animal, which I believe it is, if you look at it and you enlarge it, there's these two things on top of what looks like a head, and it looks like these little rounded things, and it matches up exactly with my sonar reading. It matches up with that. Also, the shape of the head matches up with the clip that Pete Bodette filmed. Right. It's just, to me, if you take that photo and you add up, I mean, just even the back of it, the coloring and the bumpy skin, like if you zoom in, it's like super bumpy looking. If you look at some of the videos, like the video I got in 2014 and several videos that other people have had, just of the back, it matches. So to me, I mean, I think it's legit. I think it's totally legit. This lady had nothing to gain from it. I mean, there's like this theory it was a log. Well, okay, I've seen a lot of logs in Champlain, especially in the spring, because you got all the water running down from the mountains, excessive rain. You've got all kinds of logs. Matter of fact, when I was filming for the Discovery Channel, I told the videographer, I said, hey, there's a log floating down Otter Creek really fast because we had a ton of rain before. And I said, get some B-roll of that because that's a good one for misidentifications in the lake. And he's like, oh, that's a great idea. So he's out there filming this log cruising down Otter Creek. It's the theory, like with the log thing. I mean, yeah, it's possible. But if you look at how that curvature of what, we think is the neck, if you believe that's an animal, the curvature of that, how the hell is that log going to stand up in the water like that long enough for her to take a photograph? You know what I'm saying?
Right,
it just doesn't.
I see what you're saying.
And that's, I mean, there's a theory that there's gas under the water and there's bubbles that were holding it up a certain way. I don't know. I don't think it's a log. I really don't. What's interesting about what she said was before that sighting and before she snapped the photo, she saw this turbulence. The animal came up, and she said it opened its mouth. It had water coming out of its mouth, and then it started to kind of act panicky. It was looking left to right. And, then she took the picture, and then it went down in the water, and it was gone. And within like 10 seconds, a boat came into view. It was like a speeding boat. She's like, that animal knew that boat was coming. And that description reminded me of a sighting at Loch Ness. I think it was, the man's last name was Campbell. Alex Campbell. That's it.
Yeah.
Alex Campbell. He described the same thing with Nessie, with his Nessie sighting. And, people didn't know each other. It's interesting. And I really believe that photo was authentic. And I think one day that there's going to be a great video, and I hope I'm the one who gets it, because I've been working so damn hard at this, and it would be amazing to finally get a really great piece of footage with the head and neck and have it analyzed by the experts, and where they're going to say, hey, this is not AI. I mean, all of my stuff's been analyzed by experts. So, there was like one person the other day I think it was on Facebook. They said, oh, echolocation is drumfish. And I'm like, drumfish? Drumfish make a whir, whir, whir noise. It's nothing like, my stuff's been analyzed by marine biologists all over the world. It's where are you coming up with this crap? It's just.
Well, yeah, it's a strange. People are weirdly combative about a lot of this stuff, to the point where it's like, get a life. Like, why you, it's really.
Well, they also act like, oh, well, you should get this like submarine. Well, are you going to pay for it? Well, how the hell am I going to get a submarine? Come on, I've got an ROV, if I could get a submarine, that'd be cool as heck. I'd love to have one. And then like they'll ridicule how you do things sometimes. It's like, well, why don't you come up and come on the lake and spend all the hours that I spend and show me how it's done? And you know what? They don't say a damn word after that. They don't, because they don't have the passion or ambition to do the work. And I think people that are sitting on a couch and speculate, it's because they have no life. They're miserable about themselves, and they want to find something to argue about. It's like that all over the internet, as you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
it's particularly, oh, for sure, yeah. Well, it's particularly frustrating, like you're saying too. It's like, look, is there anything lazier than just sitting online on Facebook and taking pot shots at people when it's like you're not even fucking doing anything? It's like, go out, like you're saying. It's like, hey, if you think you can do a better job, get out there, man. There's plenty of lake for everybody. So let's see what you can fucking produce.
Exactly. No, I totally. I've gotten such tough skin over the years, though. And it amazes me though how people can be so ignorant, and it's like, oh, there can't be a population in a lake. Well, do you know how big? Have you ever been to Lake Champlain? No. Well, be quiet. How the hell do you know? Have you been up in a plane and like 10 minutes later you're still on the lake, and you know how damn fast you're going in a plane? The lake, it's same thing. Well, Loch Ness is big, but it's like
deep,
tiny compared to Lake Champlain. But it is much deeper. It is much deeper. Lake Champlain, supposedly, I was out with the Japanese one year, and we got to 420 feet, and it's supposed to be 400 feet maximum. So we were in an area that was a little bit deeper than that. Loch Ness is just, it's like a fish pond to me. I hate to say that. It's little to me. But the depth,
they're gonna chase you out of town when you come back.
The average depth though is 433 feet, and it can get maximum up to 755.
Right.
So it is a lot deeper. So I'll be fair with that. But Loch Morar, that's amazing, Loch Morar, because it's like 1,017 feet deep. What the hell, And it's right next to the sea.
Are you concerned at all? Sort of, let's say you get the masterpiece picture, right? Like, let's say it's you've done it. are you at all concerned that then that in turn, like you're going to get all kinds of that there's going to be like a gold rush, for lack of a better term, of like people coming to Lake Champlain to look for the monster? Like it's going to sort of ignite a frenzy, if you will, and then it's like, geez, we don't necessarily we don't necessarily want all these yahoos coming here to look for the monster, but I guess you have the protections in place and everything, so.
Yeah,
that might
a double-edged sword, I do worry about that. But that's kind of why I'm trying to get these protections. I got that one law passed in New York State, so I'm trying to get everything updated. Vermont's next because their law is still old.
Yeah.
And Vermont doesn't seem to take Champ seriously either. That's another thing. New York really embraces it, but Vermont, I don't know why. They don't seem to embrace it as much. They don't seem to embrace keeping the lake clean either, but that's another story, like I said earlier.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, I kind of, my time at Lake Champlain was on the New York side, because that's when I met you, and I think you had Kelpie too at that time. That was about 5 years ago, so 2021. But yeah, you definitely got the impression that they were all about it, and Moriah, and they got like the big display and thing as you drive into town that has Champ on it and everything. So I'm just surprised. Yeah, I'm really surprised that that Vermont's not as on board with it as New York is. Now, obviously, you're kind of like you're focused on this stuff out in Scotland, of course. That's kind of like and Champ, of course, is your main thing. Have you ever given any thought to going west and checking out, Ogopogo and that kind of thing?
Well, it's funny you mention out west. Eventually, I will get up to Lake Okanagan. I'm friends with William Gibbons, and he's done some research on Ogopogo. And that's kind of in the future cards, so to speak. The next one that I'm going to do after Loch Morar is actually Flathead Lake in Montana. So that's going to be an interesting one because a lot of the sightings are very similar to Champ. The locations, the time of day, evening. So I'm planning on doing that eventually. I'm not sure when, because Loch Morar is like the big thing this spring. And then hopefully maybe during the summer, late summer though, because I have a friend, my friend Al Bowling, who lives out in Montana, and he lives probably, I would say, about 3 to 4 hours from Flathead Lake. So he's going to come out and do some research with me. He's been following my work for a long time. We've been friends on Facebook, I think 9 years now. And we haven't met in person. We talk on the phone a lot. And he wants to help with the research out there. So that'll be another documentary. So I've got my plate full. And then eventually, I'll probably get out to Lake Okanagan. Another one I like to do is Lake Seljord in Norway. That's one that's on my top of my list as well. So there's a lot there, and I'm excited to. Yeah, Flathead Lake's going to be cool. Because no one's doing any research there. There was a guy named Laney Hazel that used to collect all of the sighting reports, and unfortunately, I found out he passed away because I was going to reach out to him and see if I could meet him, but unfortunately, he's not with us anymore. So I'm going to go out there and see if I can interview some eyewitnesses and use the same protocol that I've used at Loch Ness, Loch Morar, Lake Champlain. I've also done Lake Memphremagog and Lake Willoughby too. So I'm going to try the same protocol and see. Hopefully, we can come up with an echolocation recording, perhaps that's similar to what we have at Lake Champlain.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. That's cool. And then if we hit the lottery, we'll go down to Argentina and look for the Nahualito. That's kind of one of my favorites. There's a documentary. I assume it's in Spanish, but they just made a documentary, and there was a sighting recently, and the documentary maker said that he knew of like 4 reports that were like they saw the thing at the same spot in the lake. I don't have the lake. I don't have it off the top of my head, but it's like Nahual Mepi or something like that. But they made a documentary about the Nahualito, and he said that they see it at this spot on a regular basis. It shows up there. So I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, I think the lake might be pronounced now Nahuapi Lake.
There you go. Yes,
That's how you pronounce it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one I'd love to check out. So if we hit the lottery or something, let's go. We'll make a cruise out of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's definitely we'll put that plan into action. Now let's talk a little bit about the magazines. It's still going strong. It's sort of another project that you have going on.
I have too many, obviously. It's called 14 World magazine. It's digital. I don't have it in print yet. And I don't know if I'm going to get it in print just because, I'm making it cost effective for readers.
Just going to say,
paying for print.
Cost effective. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Plus, environmentally, it's not, you're not chopping down any trees to do a digital magazine to get paper. So I do like the aspect of being able to have it on your iPad and in your phone. And the magazine is really cool because it's interactive. So articles that I get from various researchers around the globe, they'll send articles in and photos, and I'll put together all of the articles. And then in the articles, if they want to feature their books, the link to their books on Amazon or their YouTube videos, their YouTube channels, it's all in there, and it's like completely interactive, which I really like that you can't do with a print book that's on paper. So that's the cool thing about that. It's all Forteana. So it's ghosts, it's cryptozoology, UFOs, all kinds of crazy stuff. Even the occult, there's some stuff in there about that. And every digital magazine that I put out, I try to make it a huge kind of like a melting pot of different things. So it's not going to be just all lake monsters. Everybody, I made like a little thing on the 14 World Facebook page. I made a poll. So I said, okay, everybody vote with what you want to see in the magazine because we want to know what you want to read. And at the top of the list happened to be lake creatures and sea creatures, aquatic cryptids. So that was awesome. And I'm like, oh, are they just saying that because of me? But it seems that there's so much interest in it now. I think Bigfoot was second. And I think third, trying to remember, Native American stories. So there's a big variety in the magazine. And I'm lucky to have gotten some really great researchers to contribute their theories and different ideas for research. And I have... It's on my website, katyelizabeth.org, and you can click on 14 World to get a subscription, or you can message me on Facebook as well under my page. And it's just a really good magazine. It's quarterly. I can't do one every month. I can't do it every month because I have so much going on. It would drive me insane. I wouldn't be able to do it because I do it editing myself. It's all, I'm the right. Editor. It's like with the documentary, I'm everybody. It's crazy.
Right. Yeah. You're doing all the jobs. Yeah. When do you think the documentary might be?
Maybe with some, the documentary I'm hoping will come out in probably the next month. I would say in about 4 weeks. I'm working on that right now. And as soon as I get it released, I will be announcing that on Facebook and my YouTube channel, which is Unclassified Films. That's my production company, indie production company. And it's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to showing what we found at Loch Ness and Loch Morar. It's really cool. I have a friend of mine who runs an organization called the Women's Cryptid Society.
I saw it.
They're based out of
today with you. Yeah.
Yeah, they're based out of New Zealand, and it's an all-women's group. And I think it's great to collaborate with other women around the world and on the research because, it's mostly guys, as you know. And all of my friends that I do research with and stuff are all guys. So it's nice to collaborate with different women from all over the place. It's really cool. And the documentary, I think they're planning on doing a screening in New Zealand at some of the theaters there. So that's something that we're we're working on that right now. So trying to get
Nice.
it out there and get it finished with all my crazy things going on and my upcoming expedition at Lake Champlain.
There you go. Yeah, you got a lot of irons in the fire. So, I hold you in the highest regard, Katie. You know that. I mean, you put the work in. You produce stuff. You get stuff. Echolocations, and people come to you with their sightings, and then you bring them out to the wider world. Like if this guy hadn't shown you, if you hadn't connected with the guy who filmed the thing recently, it's like no one would even really know about this except for his friends on Facebook. So you're a tremendous ambassador for Champ, and you're doing the legwork. Like I said, I mean, it's just not a lot of people. As we were saying earlier, they talk a lot of shit, but they don't actually do anything. You're almost doing too much. You got so much going on. I just have so much respect for your work ethic and how hard you're going after this and really trying different things, trying unique approaches to this, and then looking at other creatures and sort of applying what you've learned at Lake Champlain to these other places and maybe finding new interesting insights at these other locations. So I'm a huge fan.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. I really do. And it can be tough out there, you get these people, like you said, that talk a lot of smack. They talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. And I try to walk.
Yeah.
I try to walk the walk. I take pride in what I do, and if I didn't believe, and I don't even say I'm a believer with Champ, I am a knower because of the evidence that I've gathered and what I've seen myself. And knowing some of these eyewitnesses and becoming really good friends with them as well. I've met so many great people through sightings and developed a lot of great friendships through them. And you just got to keep on going and keep on trucking, because I think eventually it's totally going to pay off. And, the protection of these creatures and the lake that they reside in is so important to me. And I think it's going to help the next generation of research. And if it is proved, like if I happen to prove this to the world or whatever, I think it's just the beginning of a whole new study, because then we're going to have to find out where they're going to breed, where are they going to hibernate. It's just like whales and dolphins, cetacean research. They're still finding out new things. I mean, we don't even know where eels go out to the sea, the Sargasso Sea, but there's a lot about eels that we don't know about. Scientists have no clue. So it's just the beginning of the research, really. Once we prove that they're there in the lake, it's a whole other kettle of fish, so to speak.
There you
No
go.
pun
I like
intended.
that. Well, Katie, I can't thank you enough for coming back on the show. Hopefully our paths will cross sometime in the not too distant future. We are pretty close to each other up here in the New England area. And I wish you the best of luck. I think I said this when I had you on the show 3 years ago. It's like, if there's a breakthrough with this Champ thing, I think it's going to come from your research, because you're putting the work in. And so, like I said, I hold you in the highest regard. I follow your stuff as closely as I can, and just have a huge respect for your work ethic. And I'm a big fan. So thank you so much for coming back on the show, and best of luck with all your expeditions, as the rest of the summer unfolds and going forward.
Thank you so much, Tim. And likewise, I feel the same about you too. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.